We are yet again live streaming another podcast of the TA Report with your homies Gotham and Bags. We don't have Nick with us tonight. He's taking a little PTO. So we're happy about that. Um GP, what do you think about this market? I know you were a little bit out of commission today, but what's changed since last time we talked?
Not much. Talk about lockout rally, right? That's the thing that keeps coming. We talked about this in November, right? I think it was November.
We've talked about it a lot.
Yeah. But like when we first started talking about it, like we have a potential for a lockout rally, and that was when I think the Qs were around 372, and you have what, 60, 70 points higher nonstop. Everyone trying to get in and not finding entries. And the thing is, when the dip comes or whatever it is, it'll be like, okay, it'll be too early. People will buy too early. So it's always fun how this all sets up. But it's been one hell of a lockout. It was nice to see breadth expansion today, but I would like to see better breadth expansion than just SMCI, NVDA, and ARM making all-time highs in rotation of days.
Yeah. You don't want to see just those handful of stocks making moves?
Well, I would like to see Meta, right? Meta had an awesome earnings. They did really well. Like, why isn't this following through? Netflix had an awesome earnings, hasn't followed through. So some of the other earning names that had solid reactions to solid earnings start to have better moves and not just be the chip show. So would like to see the love first start spreading from these chip names to some of the good earning names, right? For the follow through. And I think Meta is what, week two of kind of just going sideways. I think it tried today and then sold off for the most part. But
Well, it's just
it's
Monday. I mean, let's not say we have started week two, but there's still time.
yeah. But there's Netflix, right? Netflix does not. It's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days since its earnings, and it's literally pretty much
Flat.
operated inside that wick from earnings day, right? Like it's, and so Amazon tried to break higher,
Yep.
and yeah, so
Failed.
I would like to see the money rotate into some of these names first because these names did have good earnings, right? And then you
Mhm.
can see more rotation also elsewhere. But so far, it's been relatively healthy and rotating through. Like when you talk about small caps are usually led by financials, right? And so you had financials doing really well for quite a few weeks now, or a couple of months, while the small caps weren't doing well. And so it was an anomaly. So the expectation for me is that if the leader of the index you're following is starting to break out, most likely the others will follow suit, right? So it's nice to see money rotating back into biotech as well, next BI. But
Same
yeah,
chart.
yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Same chart. Um, yeah, no, I was poking fun last week or the week before, I don't remember. Across stock twits and Twitter. It was like I think we saw some of the megas take a little bit of a pause, but everything else was green. Almost like today. I mean, there was some green out there, but most of the bigger names were red. The IWM was green. So it's like, oh, so the generals are going to be the first to fall this time, right? It's going to be different this time, right? I just think it's a matter of time that these small names, catch a bid, and XBI looks good. IWM, obviously, right back above the pivot today. So the bears will cry about it only being seven stocks moving the market, and then when they take a breather and everything else catches up, which is what breadth is, it's like, oh, the end is coming, the generals are falling. It's like, no, that's not how it works. So I thought that was I made that little facetious statement, and I don't know. I Until you see things start breaking down, there's no reason to turn bearish. You just ride the trend. It shouldn't be too hard. And if your position's not working in this market, then you might want to rethink your positions, right?
Yeah.
Is
And
that fair?
I think that's fair. I think the part that I'm like the what people continue to point out is the correlation of the small caps to rates and dollar. That correlation broke in 2022, right? And
Mhm.
they're still talking about it. The dollar was the Dixie, right? Was 114 back in September 2022, right? We are at 104 now, saying that every time the dollar rises, stocks fall. And I'm like, are you kidding me? We
Yeah, we are.
are 180 points off the bottom in the Qs, and the Dixie's down 10%.
And it's still trending that way.
I don't care like I don't even care about the trend. Your correlation broke a long time ago.
Right.
Now for your narrative and your bias, you're now gonna say, hey, the correlation's back. You want to rethink that because the dollar is only down 10% from September 2022, yet the markets are up nearly 70% since. You think your
Um,
correlation broke?
and you look at the 10-year, um, right? Like I keep an eye on the 10-year, but it's been hovering around this 4% for weeks now, and it hasn't been the end of the world yet.
No, but it's hovering where the Fed needs to bring the rates, right?
Mhm.
I think that's what a lot of people are missing, right? The market is telling you this is where rates need to come. It won't go past this. I personally don't think it goes past this, but your inflation metric has been trending down for a little over a year. So the market is telling you like we still need rates higher, but we don't need them at 5 and 5 1/4. So can you bring them to this level, which is where we need them, which is where you found support. Yet the market has been trending pretty well for almost 18 months, with or without your rates, with or without your dollar correlation. So I just love how when people have narratives and bias, and we all do, me included,
Of
that
course.
all of a sudden that it's a thing, right? I was like, oh, I'm short, so the narrative is that when dollars get strong, stocks get weak, and I was like, uh, or like what time frame is your? But I guess is probably the question, right? It's probably a time frame conversation.
It always comes back to time frame. You can be bearish on a 5 minute candle, but bullish for the day.
Yeah,
And
but
I think
the
people
weekly
get twisted
correlation is
knots.
broken. The weekly correlation is broken, right? To the dollar and the rates strong and stocks being weak. My personal opinion, but I could be wrong.
No, I don't think you're wrong.
I know I'm not wrong, but I said I could be.
I know I'm not wrong. I'm not. I'm not conceited.
Yes.
One person that has to be happy that bios are doing what they're doing is our friend Duzio. The Dues over here been championing the bios for a while. This is something I got out of quite a while ago, but I mean it's matching IWM pretty good.
Yeah. I like the bios, but reality is it's been sideways since September or August 2022. That's the
Yeah,
reality.
yeah. But it
So
only takes us
if
to break
biotech
out, right?
starts, if you need reason for ammo for the markets to move higher, especially in small caps, here's your reason. This is just the base, right? This is a nearly 2-year base that if this starts to break out, what else starts to break out? Small caps.
Yeah, same chart.
Yep.
Same chart.
And I know everyone's been focused on Tesla as well, so we should probably talk about that at some point.
Yeah, go for it. I mean, we've talked about it pretty ad nauseum that we've been in a downtrend since October 22 or 21 rather, and
Yeah,
we're below all weekly moving averages. Could
we
we be
are.
holding here? Could we be setting up for a further leg down, bear flag breakdown maybe? Um, I don't know. It's a frustrating position to be in. I would say that.
It looks so to me, this looks very similar to the January 2022 bottom, right? That right there, that wick lower, kind of stop everyone out, and then kind of faff around, and then start moving higher. But also, if you go to the next dip, right, it's very similar. A wick lower, kind of faff around for a couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
then break higher. So same thing with whatever that October timeframe is. Wick lower, faff around for a few weeks, and move higher. Um, so that's what I'm watching here. Ultimately, today was a crappy day while the markets were green,
Yeah.
but it held the 9-day moving average, which has not held since December. Barely, but it held. But you can see clearly that it's been rejecting it since it broke it in like late December.
Hmm.
And so we got finally got above it last week. We held above it 3 days. And while the MACD is still in a bull setup, you had a 9-day moving average test to frustrate longs yet again, and it held. Did it hold strongly? No, none of those things are happening, but it's Tesla. It's it's um it's wild. It has been for as long as it's been in existence, or as long as Musk has been at the helm, right? So um I just don't think it's bad. I don't like you're in a place where 177.25 is the 61.8 fib retracement from the January 2023 lows to the May 2023 highs, right? So you're bang on. That was that wick lower there. It tested that 61% retracement, wicked off of it. And so it's doing its thing. It's frustrating a lot of people in the process. And so the only thing for me is this is one of the few kind of points. And so now I'll keep it technical, is I personally don't see what their growth trajectory is here. And doesn't mean they don't have one. I just don't see it, right? So like how are they going to grow more sales? They're like people who are going to buy Model Ys or Model 3s have already bought them. $1,000 off here, $1,000 off there is not the it's not a game changing environment. So what brings in additional sellers? I don't think rates do. Lower rates, I don't think do either. Um, I was just hanging out with some friends this week in LA, and we own a Model Y, and they're like, "Oh my God, that's so expensive." And I was like, "No, you can actually get one for 35,000, right?" And so people were like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "Yeah, you can get one for 35,000. It's cheaper than a Honda CRV." So now it's so price points are comparable. So I don't honestly see where the growth is coming from because I don't see it from the Cybertruck. I don't see it from anything else. But this is when you got to focus on the chart. And the chart's holding in all the right places, but not going anywhere.
A lot of reports of some unhappy customers of the Cybertruck too.
Unhappy or happy?
Unhappy.
Okay. Like what? I didn't even see that. I've been kind of.
Well, it's rusting
Oh, okay.
because it's basically sheet metal that doesn't have a clear coat on it. So whenever you have this rugged truck that's supposed to be indestructible get wet, you pretty much have to take the water off of it immediately.
I thought they
Um,
had done prepared for that.
no, and then the big covers on the wheels are destroying the tires.
The posture covers?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, it's the beta version of the first car. This is you ran into this with Model 3, you ran into this with Model Y. They'll improve and fix it. That I don't like every iPhone has its sense of list of issues too, right? And it has since it came out in 2007. Every generation. Remember Antenna Gate?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm not too worried about the little things as long as it's not something major like, a window flying off your airplane.
Well, I think you spend close to $100,000 for a vehicle. You don't want it to rust after a few weeks.
You don't, but you also know that it's a beta vehicle when you're buying it at 100 grand, right?
Well, you were asking about growth, and I know you said that you didn't think the Cybertruck was going to be a growth engine,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
that just poisons the well a little bit more, right? For other potential buyers of Tesla products because they see what's going on with some of the Cybertruck stuff. And it's like, is the quality all that great? Is it? I don't know.
Yeah, I get it.
It,
And
it,
did you
put, it
see?
puts a seed of doubt in the consumer's mind.
And you saw the ad, right? That was released during Super Bowl.
The Tesla ad?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
I
the
didn't.
Dawn for something progress or
No.
someone
Oh,
released some kind of Tesla ad saying it's basically a hit piece against Tesla and they hate it and so forth.
um,
The Dawn Project or something is what I was
I'll
saying.
have to look that up. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
No. Fun
And that
10
tells you how much
S.
money is in Tesla, right? Someone's willing to take, we're betting against Tesla. Someone's willing to take out an $8 million 30-second ad to
Yeah.
fight this company. So,
Yeah. Fun 10S wants to know about Bitcoin miners. And if Bitcoin's going to go higher, the miners are as well. Look at that. Mara looks great to me. I know the homie Jason Neary, T Stonk here in the chat. He's along the miners. Riot should be the same, roughly the same chart, very similar. So as long as crypto is going higher and it looks poised to do so, right? So
yeah,
$50,000 Bitcoin now. Who would have known? Who would have said that? Wow, I'm so surprised.
I know.
Um that
For sure, the guys who have the correlation between rates and stocks.
the miners are going to be fine. And coin, that was a perfect lick off after our conversation last week. Was a perfect lick off. I mean, I'm not into patting myself on the back, but that was a pretty good one. The Nest WW Weight Watchers International does not look appealing to me. Anything's tradable, so I'll just preface everything with that, but it's not really a chart that I like, even though this is a triple bottom basically that it's had down here in the threes. So, not my kind of thing, but could
I'd
be
be
good.
worried about AI putting WW out of business, right? Ultimately, but
Well,
I
that's what
don't
I'm
know.
saying. I don't
Feels
know
like
the time frame, and anything can trade, right?
yeah. And trade wise, a different story, but investment wise, I don't know what it is. But ultimately, right now, all the money's focused in a few different stocks or areas. So what's
We got
most likely happen? This is the capital, mental capital preservation conversation we've talked about, right? For so long, is while this is happening and a lot of our stocks are not participating, we're getting more and more frustrated. And what's going to happen there is it finally breaks out. You're up 5%, 10%, and you're like, I'm just going to get out. And then you're going to see it rail for another 100%. And you're like, damn it, I got out. So this is about like from an investing perspective, you have to have your timeline and your horizon defined and just let it be, right? And so if you're just trying to catch and meet some moves and stuff like that, then that's a different conversation.
we got to talk about ARM though. Talk about moves. Holy cow.
90% of their float is owned by SoftBank. ARM is double the market cap of SoftBank right now.
I mean, it's only 91% in 3 days. That's all. Um, I've been keeping an eye on ARM, and I knew with their relationship with NVIDIA that it was going to end up going crazy. But I didn't expect it to go as crazy as it did. You bring up SoftBank. I use it. Look at that. I mean, basically the same thing. I
It's
use
funny how
them.
they get bailed out so often, right? SoftBank, they make
Yeah,
so many terrible bets and they make one awesome bet.
but you only have to be right one time.
Yep.
You can be wrong 1,000 times, but you only have to be right one time. And when you're right the one time and you made a big bet on it, then it is what it is. SoftBank is another of my risk on indicators. When SoftBank is going berserk to the upside, it's a bullish market. It's a bullish market.
Yep.
It's hard to deny. I would probably put a pivot like right there. So yeah, we blew through the pivot last week, basically.
I think the way I'd probably traded this is I think it's tradable until the lockup in 2 weeks, and then you stay the hell away from it.
The lockout is over in 2 weeks.
I believe so.
Oh, so make money for 2 weeks and then back to no soup for you?
March 12th. Yep.
No soup for you.
Month in a
You think
month.
there's going to be a
So
rate adjustment?
I think SoftBank's gonna be able to unload if they want to. They own
Oh,
90% of
specifically an arm. Yeah. Oh,
ARM. Yeah.
we're talking about two different things: the
Oh,
lockout
sorry.
sell shares and the lockout rally. Yeah, you're right. The lockout to be able for them to sell is in 2 weeks. Yes, gotcha. Sometimes we just
Yep.
got to talk through it a little bit, you know. Sometimes we just got
It's
to talk
all
through it.
good. But you're seeing positive reactions, even for the names that didn't have great earnings reactions, like Google's a good example, right? Um, yeah, Google got sold off and it's kind of just holding that area that it's been holding for a while now, that 140 to 148 area, I think, right? Around there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely interesting to see our big we talked about Disney quite a lot over the last few months, and it's um it's doing all the right things technically, which is what I love to see from the Mickey.
Hi, Rachel. Um, yeah, no, I mean, broke out over 92. I've been saying that for the longest. Over 92, she's good to go.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I saw one thing that was interesting. Um, the all-in-one sports app that they're trying to partner with a few other folks on. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the NBA and the NFL don't they weren't brought into this conversation ahead of time, and they know likey. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. As a sports fan, of course, I would love to be able to watch a majority of sports that I want to watch on Hulu, but it sounds like the leagues themselves didn't care for that thought. So it's interesting.
Okay. Yeah, I'd assume there's like a monopoly conversation there too, no?
With bringing sports into Hulu,
Yeah.
well, they would be using Fox's rights and Warner Brothers Discovery's rights, which would be TNT and TBS. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see where that goes. But let's just put a pin in that and see what news develops after that. The Nest wants to know about wheat, WEAT. Uh, no idea what wheat. The
It's
wheat.
just the wheat. 'Wheat. 'ETF. 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 'Wheat
I mean, that looks, I I don't know anything about commodities, but I mean, could it be carving a bottom? Maybe, but it's
I'll
not a
still go
good.
back to there's a handful of things working. Why spend any time here until it starts to
Yeah, I
show
mean,
you?
gotta beat the moving averages, and it's below on every time frame just about. So not my expertise, that's for sure.
And if the last 6 months don't show you, right? Like look at the names that have they're rewarding breakouts. That's the first thing, right? We
Yeah,
haven't been they haven't been rewarding breakouts since almost 2020, right?
let's
After
talk.
the initial.
How
What's
about this
that?
breakout? How about this breakout? You like this one? What's
Yeah, I
happening?
do. I do. And app and but nothing's actually breaking out. It's getting to like the top of the range, kind of faffing around, and then not going higher. So this is the frustrating things, right? It's not breaking down, it's also just not breaking out. But they've been rewarding breakouts. Like I said, I think the last time they rewarded breakouts was August, September 2020 with that whole SoftBank gamma squeeze
Yeah,
nonsense.
yeah.
And then it's been mostly downtrends everywhere, right? Since then, and every resistance point it failed. So so like let's go through the names of I'll go through the ones that I know that have followed through on breakouts, and Bags, please feel free to add to it. But let's start with the first one, which is Costco. Oh, you thought I was gonna say NVIDIA, huh? No,
No,
Costco,
I
right?
I I have learned not to assume.
Yeah. So Costco and NVIDIA chart look exactly the same to me. Yet no one talks about Costco, but Costco is breaking out.
They're pretty similar.
NVIDIA, SMCI, Microsoft, Apple, um, what else we got? AMD.
I mean, even Amazon.
No, it hasn't broken out all-time highs, right? So,
Broke. Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
well, either you break out of your base and you're rewarded from that side, or you're breaking out of your all-time highs. And for the mega mature caps, I would say they need to clear their all-time highs to say that they're actually breaking out. But that's personally me.
Is this a that would be a 3 week tight there on it. 4 week tight, right? On Amazon? Or sorry, AMD.
AMD. Yeah.
This is week 5.
Yep.
Indicators look a little weak, but I don't know. It's held the previous all-time high there, right? So that's a good thing.
Yep. Yeah. Waste management's another one.
Oh, market leader waste management.
Yep.
Look at that.
FICO's the other one, right? There's so many names that are not tech, right? That are actually doing this and have been for weeks and months.
I first Waste Management is one of the companies that I first bought shares in many moons ago.
Yeah.
And it just didn't have enough beta for me. It didn't move fast enough. And now
Yeah.
$188 later, it's like, man, you just gotta be patient. You just gotta park it. Let it burn.
Sometimes you do. But
Let
look,
it
dude,
burn.
a stock that I have talked about, it's infinity downtrend. There's two that I've been talking about for years now, right? One of them is IBM, which IBM broke out of its monster 24-year downtrend sideways action. And that's another one that's actually breaking out of this ridiculous range bound action that it's been in for 2 decades. And the other one, GE, it actually broke its 23-year downtrend. It has not made new highs, like pivot highs, relative highs, but it broke 24, 20, whatever, how many years of a downtrend, right? Like that's,
I've got it right at the downtrend.
yeah. So my line's with the second big point, right? Because if you
Yeah.
bring up GE, the second big point, I believe, was 2008, right? So that's a pretty significant top to me.
Yeah.
So then what was the next one in 2016 when it wasn't doing well? So if you're looking at it from a quarterly basis or monthly basis, that downtrend is being broken. No, I'm not doing it from the 2008. So interesting. I wonder, oh, you're on log.
Yeah, I'm always on log.
I'm not.
I'm always on log.
I don't do log, but yes, ultimately what I'm saying is it's breaking out of a downtrend here that it hasn't done in. Now it just needs to clear that pivot high, right, from 2015, 2016. But this is stuff that doesn't happen in bear markets, right? You don't have secular downtrends attempting to break out. Not you normally see it to break down. So just things to keep in mind in the back of your head is like people keep talking about NVIDIA and SMCI, but the under the radar names are beasting. Look at FICO as well. Bring up FICO. This is the representation of your credit score,
FICO. Oh,
FICO.
yeah, I know.
Look at this thing. Look at this.
It does look like my credit score. Seriously.
Yep. And look, even Home Depot is starting to get out of its correction here and move higher. I think you're seeing it. You'll see a little bit more this week of Zillow, right? I think they have earnings this week.
Yes.
Um,
And I have it on good authority that the housing market is still hot, hot, hot.
and yeah, so 100% people are still buying. I think people are still doing things. I was just in LA over the weekend, and where we were staying, I was looking at a house. It was in yeah, in LA. It was 882 square feet and it was $1 million.
That's affordable.
Yeah, for the guy who's got 2 million, but
Affordability.
yes, maybe he wants to park his car there.
What about Z? Uh, what do you think? Rachel asked, "What about ZGP?" I mean, we're talking about the housing market, and they have earnings this week. Are you looking for a big upside move?
I to me it's so it moved from what so I'm looking at Redfin, but let me pull up Z. Hold on a second. Right. You had Z go from what is it, low 26 to almost 60, right? Or almost 57. So double, and you had the correction, and now you're right there, and it's kind of at this major horizontal line where it kind of broke down. It's the pivot highs from the 2020 COVID sell-off, right? Like if you draw a horizontal line from that right there, right, just to your right, that big green bar and then the
Yeah,
death bars, yeah. So from the pivot highs there, you're just sitting there, and what does that look like to you? Like a little cup and handle consolidation piece thing
a little
here, right?
cuppy cup.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks pretty good. Whether it has a good earnings or look, I thought a firm looked pretty good going into earnings too, and it had pretty good earnings, and it still had a terrible reaction. Monday, man, right? Mandy
Yep, that reported
had
today,
a
didn't it?
terrible reaction today, and they had great earnings.
Well, I when they have great earnings and they get sold off, that is nothing but opportunity. Um, I look at Sentinel One, right? Something that I was buying the dip here, and then this happened in the summer. That was their earning report, and I was like, guys, this is a no. This is a layup right here. And just a few months later, we're up 120%.
Yep.
So yeah, I use good earnings but bad reaction as 100% opportunity.
Yeah.
So if you're a believer in Monday, I don't own or really watch Monday that often. Maybe that's your opportunity. It's still in an
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, it's an opportunity if you want to trade it or whatever. But like I think the general overall theme is what I'm trying to there's a lot of shakeouts, there's a lot of stuff, but ultimately things are starting to resolve higher, right? It may take 6 weeks instead of 2 weeks
Yeah.
like you expected, but they're starting to resolve higher. Another example is Goldman, right? Look at Goldman. This has pretty much been sideways for a little over 2 months. And what's it doing? at a pivot high. It's been sideways, waited for the moving averages to catch up, and now it's starting to break out. Right. So what happens if Goldman starts to, if the leaders start to lead, what happens to the others? They usually end up starting to follow. So
Rachel's just
I know we're overbought on over almost every single metric. I know we're in nosebleed territory. So an FU candle will probably appear at some point in the near future and start a consolidation period. I'm not saying any of that stuff, but what I'm trying to get you guys to see is what I'm seeing, which is resolutions to the upside, just not as fast as you're used to over the last 15 years of free money, right?
right.
So be frustrated, but also recognize when things aren't actually breaking down, they're just range bound in the top part of their bases, in the top part of their range. Like the Goldman is a great example here. For 8 weeks, if you kept trying to trade this, you got slapped in the face. It's like, oh, it's gonna break out, boom, dead. It's gonna break out, boom, dead, right? Like it's just, but what's it doing now? It's starting to resolve higher. Whether it does or not is what we're gonna see over the next couple of weeks. But this is pretty technical. It got like Goldman, most banks in general don't get too far away from their weekly moving averages. It's just not common. Banks tend not to have that alpha that growth stocks do, right? So when it gets too far, seeing a nice consolidation to let them catch up and start moving higher is a great thing to see.
Yeah, 1000%. I will never argue with that, GP.
Yeah,
You want to take a few requests?
absolutely. But nothing from
On,
Rachel.
on
Nothing from
hold.
Rachel. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
On's at the bottom of its, chop zone that's been in. To me, it doesn't look too bad. Looks all right. I would probably want it to clear that this week, and then, yeah, not too bad. What do you think, GP?
I'm pulling it up. Hold on one second.
He doesn't trust the chart that he sees on the Zoom call. He wants to look at his own.
Well, I have my different moving averages and stuff on mine. I personally don't like IPOs, right? And
Yes, you are on the record about that.
yes, rather see them execute and go over time because IPO bases can take 1 year, 2 years, 7 years. Um, if you're looking for a 7 year example, look at NTNX. But it looks good. I see a lot of distribution on the monthly on, so I'd probably wait to see if it resolves higher. This is not my kind of
Yeah.
my cup of tea personally, but up to you.
Airbnb tomorrow. I don't think that's a request from Jason, but I think it's worth talking about. I don't think you don't like Airbnb, do you?
I just stayed at an Airbnb, so I still use it because when you're traveling with friends and have like diet restrictions like I do, it's always nice to have your own place to kind of be able to cook if you need to.
Sorry, you don't like the stock, do you?
My bad. It's basing. It's doing well, right? There's been a decent amount of distribution in it, so um, I'd like to see it honestly base longer, personally, but that's me. The reason I asked for a longer base is I think it provides more power when it actually
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
higher.
yeah. Shop is a name that we've looked at often. Also reports this week. Just chugging along, range break after range break. You can
Yeah.
throw another one on there too. See how that works? Wow, Bags, you just blew my mind. Oh my God, it lines up perfectly with the all-time high top. Look at that. It's like mathematics.
Some make
I
do
want to see
not.
shop, I want to see shop stay in this upper range, but I have a feeling it's going to pull back into this middle range again.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of shakes before the bakes.
Yep.
Shop is known for the shakes before the bakes.
Yep.
So I can see that definitely happening. Ultimately, it needs to clear 112, I
Yep.
think. It's
Yep.
it's cleared the it's cleared a lot of the sell volume from 2022, but the 112 area is something that kind of needs to clear, and I don't know if it will because there was a decent base, so it might just get there and kind of
Yep.
muddle around for 6 months.
Yep.
But it looks good, right? Like
Yep.
it's not like, hey, we talked about this I think last year, the year before, is like, hey, we haven't been in a downtrend, we've been in a sideways trend in the indices, right? Um, if you expand your time frame, and so this is still sideways in the time frame, but it's looking better and better week by week, right? So I like it. I like the that's a great imagery right there, Bags, because it's just showing you that it had its consolidation kind of period after a monster move from $1 to 180, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That it's had its consolidation and now it's slowly building on upon its foundation.
It's freaking voodoo, man. That's what Randy calls it.
Yes. Thank you, girl.
Freaking voodoo. Hood. I think they report tomorrow, maybe. Um, they just released a bunch of new stuff in their app. I shared this with my group earlier tonight. They got some pretty cool stuff making in their app.
I still
Now,
think it's one of the best interfaces to use, hands
it
down.
is. It is by far. It is 100%.
So I think if you start introducing features that long-term investors can take advantage of, right? And you still can't trade SPX and any of the indices in Hood for whatever reason. Uh,
Would you like me to go through some of these features that are new?
Absolutely.
I don't know if you saw them.
I haven't been paying attention. Today was definitely one of those days.
You can see what other customers on their app are doing with the stock. So whether it's net buying or net selling, you can also see what the hedge funds are doing and when they're buying and selling the stock. And then lastly, um, you can, what is this? Get real-time updates of the insider tradings,
That's
insider buys
awesome.
and
Dude,
sells.
transparency is the key to all of this stuff, right? The more you're transparent about this stuff, the better your app will perform over time.
Yeah. And well, it already had the best user interface for trading. So maybe I need to fire the hood back up. I stopped using them quite a while ago.
Their fills still suck. Their fills are terrible, right? So if they
Yeah.
start addressing some of that stuff, um, and they become more mainstream when it
Well,
comes to.
no one liked the actions that they did on the GameStop saga.
But it wasn't just them.
But
It
it
was,
wasn't just that.
yeah,
It was a history of really, really, really terrible customer service. I left them because I had a similar issue of customer service. So I just pulled my money out and moved to E-Trade. So
yeah. But all those stocks did the same with GMC and GME and AMC back in the day, right? They all stopped trading. They all put in restrictions because ultimately their shareholders
yeah,
are their
yeah,
responsibilities, right?
yeah,
So
right, for sure. I think it was more noticeable, obviously, on Robinhood, right? Because most of the people, younger people, or people who were new to investing, they were using that app, right? And that
yeah.
really created. Um, anyway, I think it's cool. So, is there a report tomorrow? Yes, it is tomorrow after the market closes. So we'll see. It's still eerily similar to what Roblox's chart is. I
Yep.
mean,
A lot of these charts, right? They're all
same
just
chart. Yeah, yeah. You can find twins across the board.
yeah.
What's some more? What's some more?
CNC. That actually looks pretty interesting if you're looking at CNC.
CNC.
Yeah. I don't know
Oh
what it
yeah,
is.
Centene. They are a health insurance company.
Okay, never mind. I don't like health insurance companies, so it'll just be. But chart looks good. It's trying
Managed.
to put a nice hammer on the monthly. Obviously, we're only midway through the month, so it's not as important. But it's it looks pretty good. I think it's hasn't broken the short-term downtrend. By short-term, I mean from November 2022. It's getting close. It's it's got to take out 80, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, once it takes out 80, I think you're still capped around the 90 mark. So
That yearly. What does the yearly look like? I mean, it's fine. It
yeah,
could be a little rollover here if it doesn't hold, I would say like 77. Could be a little pressure. Um,
Triple M.
yeah,
Really?
we get this question, every other month about 3M.
Yeah.
Still waiting. GP's order in down here at what was it, 82 or something is still
Yeah.
intact.
Nope. It was I think yeah. It just never yeah.
Yeah,
It
80, he's still waiting on 82, folks.
yeah. We got 80 what 485. I missed by a couple of bucks. I remember I was pissed.
Yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, this is it's going nowhere fast. So if you're looking for a move quickly, I
Randy's
don't
yelling
know.
at
Just
us, Live Nation. I mean, it looks all right, Randy. I mean, I should be paying closer attention to the ones that Randy's giving us because Randy's given us so many winners over the months and years. Yeah, it looks pretty good, Randy. You're
whatever
not
happened to on, just on.
on holdings.
Yeah.
It's not on
Why?
holdings on semiconductor.
Yeah. Why did it stop
After it
participating? It
after it
completely.
shit the bed on an earnings reaction, it's battling back. I really like on. If I were to add a new semi position not named NVDA, it would most likely be on.
Hmm. On GFS. None of these things are actually going anywhere. LSCC. So it's interesting while semiconductors are going bananas.
Now, Global Foundries has done nothing. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
absolutely
This
sideways.
this is the IPO base that I'm talking about, right? Like
Yeah.
it can be 1 year, it could be many years, and this can go on for a while.
Visco, some
Oh,
Victoria's Secret. Damn, Randy. Randy gave this one to us about 19 bucks.
yeah.
Thanks, Randy. 56% later. As far as now, yeah, I mean it's broke out, Randy.
Yeah.
It's
It's
look at
definitely
that.
going.
That bad boy's broke out. It's she gone. She's gone in Teddy and high heels. She out the door.
Yeah.
The fur coat
And
on.
end phase off that awful earnings report. That was just one of the most miserable. It had such a great reaction that you knew that the bottom was in, right? Like, dude, they missed by like 70%. It was disgusting. And it still had an awesome reaction. So like you knew that whatever was the reason for selling it was already getting priced in.
Um, we haven't looked at FSLR in a while since we're talking about in phase. I mean, I think it can go. I think it can go here. We've
Battling, but it's going well.
we've seen this set up before,
Yeah.
right? Like higher low.
It looks similar to the May July area, right?
Yeah,
From down there.
yeah, down here.
Yeah.
PayPal and Baba didn't have great earnings. No, they
Why?
did not. PayPal, yeah, it's still. I was worried. Everybody was over here slapping each other's back like it's the second coming of PayPal, and I was like, guys, we've not broke out yet. Let's chill, and this could be a false breakout. and right now it's proving to be a false breakout.
Yeah, could
Yes,
be an
granted.
inverse head and shoulders, whatever, but
Yeah, it could be, but that wasn't the breakout, is the point that I'm making. That
yeah.
wasn't the breakout. Um, Baba China actually caught a little bit of a bid today. We got to see Baba retake the 9 and 20, get back up here in the 80s. I'm long Baba.
Oh, Godspeed.
Yeah, I know. So sometimes you got to
But
roll the dice,
the
sheepy.
the one thing I think we talked about this last week is Dow transport theory, right? Take a look at IYT as well. This is attempting to break out here
At
and
all-time highs.
yep, potentially even take out all-time highs, but there's just a lot of good things that are going on. Yes, GFS is hibernating till 2032.
I don't think it'll be that long. I know you're being facetious, but I don't think it'll be that.
I know. I'm just my. I guess it just illustrates my point of IPO basis can go. So whenever GFS does go, it's going to be a monster, right? Because it's building this big base. So
We got to look at our stock picks. We're going till the end of March on these picks, and right now, Advanced Auto, that's GPs. Look okay.
yeah,
8182 is the target. Looking good. I mean, looks all right. Fresh, in a chop, in a little bit of a chop. It had a nice little pop, but we're in a chop.
I think FSLY is looking the best.
Yeah, Fastly was last month or last quarters, remember from Nick.
Yeah.
Back to our time frame talk. His pick, right, was United Rentals, and Nick's gonna win this round, I think. He just keeps on moving.
What was his
Moving.
entry?
We did that. Like his entry would have been 505.14.
Okay.
That was when we called it on a Monday. So where would have that been? 505.14 right there. December 11th is when we made these picks. I'm gonna put a little marker on there so I can track that a little better.
Yeah.
December 11th.
Even things like win, right? Like this is the
Uh,
ultimate gambling stuff and discretionary income spending and all that stuff. Win is starting to accelerate here on good earnings. Holy crap, T-Doc is back to 21? No way.
no way.
Yeah.
Tiger Johnson says, do you guys trust head and shoulders patterns? Feels like it's a very bullish pattern. Inverted head and shoulders patterns are bullish patterns. Uh,
Or
normal
failed Head and Shoulders.
or fail. Yeah. I was getting there.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah. If a move fails, then it's going to go the other way, right? And powerfully.
From false moves comes fast moves, right?
That is correct.
So Head and Shoulders patterns work great in a bear market, which if you looked at 2022, almost every Head and Shoulders played out, right?
Yeah.
Um, but in bull markets, they tend to fail quite often, which ends up being ammo to the upside because shorts start to cover as their levels start to break and then eventually breaks out.
Eventually, it breaks out. Cookie Soxel.
He's not allowed to take a 3x or next time.
Yeah, no more of that. Well, I gave him a pass because it was like 2 a.m. when I sent him the 2 a.m. his time when I sent him the hey, you didn't send a stock, and he just happened to be taking the use of the loo when he
Yeah.
replied.
Yep.
but we're not mad about it.
No, no, no. Yeah.
It's only up 50%. Only.
What am I up? 20%?
Advance is up 16%.
Yeah, that's okay. But Carvana's looking good. You watching that?
I'm not watching Carvana.
It's gotten that consolidation from the bottom, the double bottom, et cetera, at 24, all the way up to 65, and then now consolidating and looking for a potential move higher. Earnings is coming up in next week. That should be interesting to see how that, there's a huge short position in that. So if the earnings comes in good, then you could see a big squeeze.
Light them on fire.
Yeah. K Max is looking pretty decent too, huh?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. It looks way more dramatic on the daily than it does the weekly, though.
Yeah, yeah. MicroStrategy looks great.
Well, that's Bitcoin.
Yep. But
That's what
Path looks good. You looks good. Even Ford looks pretty good.
Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It actually does. Long suffering Ford.
All they needed to do is stop selling losing EV vehicles.
Right? Right. All right, GP. Our time is up, my friend.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
No Nick next week, but we'll be here. Um, but hey, we love you. Thanks for joining, GP. It was always great to catch up.
Always.
And we'll check you out wherever social media is made. So if you tweet at us, stop twat at us, we're at all those places. Holler at you guys and have a great week trading, you know.